Welcome to the Service Business Playbook. I'm your host, Ivo-Castillo, and this show is for service business owners who want to more growth, better systems, and better marketing. In each episode, I'll talk with leaders in the industry about what is working, what is not, and the real lessons behind their results. Let's get into it. Today I'm joined by John Elliott from Jackson Roofing. Hello, John. How are you?
I'm great, Evo. Thanks for having me on.
So let's start. First, how did you get into roofing and what pushed you to build Jackson Roofing? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my grandfather started our business 44 years ago. We're more than 4 decades old. And when I was young, both him and my grandfather, or both him and my father, thought it would be a good idea, just as they did, to do some manual labor, myself do some manual labor. There are things you can learn about yourself through manual labor that you can't learn anywhere else. So that's what I did. 15 years old, I got started on the roofing crew. I was on the ground crew. I was the grunt, and I did a lot of the cleanup and hauling the shingles and worked my way up from there, worked with a tool belt and a hammer. And then naturally rose through the business from there, got out for a bit to, right after high school and did some waiting tables and stuff for restaurants. Came back when I was 20, got into sales. And then when I was 22, I took over the business from my grandfather. He was well into retirement. He was doing a little bit here and there to keep himself going and stay out and sell one roof a month, and really enjoyed it, what he got to do. When I got back in, we started really ramping things up again, and we turned around from there. And yeah, once I took over, we were smooth sailing. It was a fun ride with my grandfather for sure, but that's how I came to be in the roofing business.
And just self-learning everything. How do you get in the okay? You start from experience from the bottom of the company, right? From
Right.
like
So
anybody who wasn't the grandson of the owner. So you start from scratch.
yeah, where it really happened was my grandfather teaching me sales when I got back into it. Back when door knocking was fun, not everyone was chasing insurance. We started door knocking together, and I really believe every salesman should do cold sales. Door knocking at its finest is really fun, but the consistent rejection, you learn a lot from that. Beyond that, the most I learned about business was actually once I took over. I was an expert roofer by 22, but I was not an expert businessman by
Yeah.
any means. I almost bankrupted the business. And I joined this networking group called BNI. It's a worldwide networking group, but in our region, it's Business Networking International. But what it did, long story short, it surrounded me with a bunch of other professionals in all different industries, everything from trades to real estate to insurance. And I, you know, you are who you compare yourself to. And a lot of people translate that to you are who you hang out with. It's really who you compare yourself to, but being surrounded by those people all the time, I began to learn and began to exhibit those character traits and behavior skills. And I slowly became a businessman through that networking group, being surrounded by those folks. And I learned a lot from them. I mean, that networking group really saved my business just from what I was able to learn and pick up and start learning about how to run a business rather than just be a roofer. And from there, the education just grew outside the networking group. Education's a big part of what we do every day, what I'd have to do every day to keep growing.
Can you tell us what is the service and specialties in Jackson Roofing right now?
So we are Jackson Roofing and Gutters. First and foremost expertise is long-term roof maintenance and care, getting the most we can out of a roof before we have to replace it. Beyond that, replacement, obviously, is a specialty of ours. We also handle water drainage off a roofing system that goes into your gutter system. Gutters and roofing are hand in hand. We have to control where that water goes. Then we also focus on sealants, some in the commercial space, but Yeah, that the long-term roof care and maintenance is what I really like to preach about. Preventative maintenance on roofing. You don't find that much anymore. And we can get into the industry a bit and where it's at now, but I really do think that's what sets us apart.
And last question. When you say success for the company today, what does that look like in real numbers and outcomes?
So the major growth, the biggest growth we got
Mhm.
over our career has been within the past year and a half. And a lot of that you hear pretty often about the struggles of entrepreneurship. Most entrepreneurs are really sole proprietors. I had that sole proprietor mindset for the longest time. It took me years to figure out how to delegate,
Yes.
take the tool belt off and move into the office. It's that mindset that no one could do it as good as you. And I struggled with that quite a bit. And where I really let go was a year and a half ago. We started expanding our staff. My admin director was a fantastic addition to our team, taking a lot of hats off from me that I'm not good at. You know, I'm good at people, sales, networking. She could do all the back office stuff. But we started hiring our salesmen, our project consultants. Just being able to delegate was a big move for us. Last year, we doubled our revenue, more so. We had a 107% increase year over year. And we're a small business. We're not racking up tens of millions here, but, hitting that couple million over the next course of the next couple years, hitting 5 million, I think we're well on our way now to start achieving those numbers. And with pretty decent margins. You always hear about higher margins in roofing. We're operating right now around a 30% margin, very healthy.
Yes.
So we like the landscape of our revenue stream at the moment, and all of that being nearly 100% word of mouth.
Wow. Wow. That's great.
Think so.
In a market where many roofers sound the same, what do you do differently than wins trust fast?
The truth about your roof. That's our slogan. About 5 years ago, the trend has started to shift really heavily towards insurance. Last year, the number one loss for insurance companies was hail damage. And that's nationwide. And that's due to roofers out here chasing insurance leads. It's all insurance based. And the they are going home to home, chasing claims. I get calls all the time that it's, hey, this roofer knocked on my door and he swears I have hail damage. He didn't get on my roof. Or, John, I had this roofer have me make a claim and now we've gotten denied. The insurance adjuster said there was no damage. I'm stuck. Now the insurance has seen my roof. They want me to replace it anyways. We've got so many clients in bad situations now because roofers are out there, they're salesmen, and I respect it to a point. It's not so much their fault. It's the owners teaching them that this is the best way to go. Let's fill our pockets quickly with insurance margins that we can, not get every client, not get 4 out of 5, but, 7 out of 10 of our clients aren't going to get approved for their claim. But those three, we're really going to make some money. That's how they teach it. And I know because I get all of their clients and it's, they come to me, they're pissed. They're pissed off. They're hurt. And we're really trying to, solidify the long-term roof maintenance in the industry again, at least locally. We preach about it constantly. Why not, when you have a 30-year shingle, why not get the most you can out of it? Why not get to that 30-year mark? And I can really nerd out on the aspects of maintenance, but even something as simple as roof algae. If you have roof algae between 15 and 18 years, you clean it. You clean your roof. No, you're not going to make as much money, but you're building relationships with your clients, with your network. You're expanding your network. And that's where we've sustained these clients that I go out to. 3 other roofers have said they need to replace their roof because it's got algae all over it. I come in, we maintain it. We tell them they've got another 10 years and they tell 10 times as many people about us as a result. And that's how we've been able to sustain such numbers like we do on 100% word of mouth. I mean, that's how every roofing company should operate. That's how they used to operate. And insurance claims have really been the pull lately. Everyone is trying to start a roofing company. If you look at the top 20 roofing companies in the past, if you Google it right now, they have all come about in the past 5 years and they all operate off of insurance. You call them, some of them won't even come out unless it's for an insurance claim. Many of them won't come out if you have a repair. If you called your plumber and he said, I only do replacements, it's your tradesmen need to be able to do everything from start to finish. And that includes repairs and maintenance.
Yes.
And we're in an industry right now where it's just not so. And now it's catching up. And I don't know if you were going to ask this question later, but as far as what's changing, now the insurance game has caught on and they're changing the way they do things. And who's it hurt? It doesn't hurt the roofers. It hurts all of the people that the roofers serve. It hurts our clients. I used to be able to go do a roof inspection for a new home buyer. And all I had to do was prove that they had 5 years left of life on the roof and they would get home insurance. Now I have to prove 10 years left of life, sometimes 15 years left of life for them to get it covered for insurance. I went to one just a few weeks ago. I proved that this woman who was buying this house had 10 to 12 years left on her roof. It's a long time. That's a
Yes.
third of the roof's life. And the insurance company still made them replace the roof. They made them do it because of the liability, the increased liability on an aging roof. It's more susceptible to incur storm damage. And because of the way the industry has turned and the insurance companies are losing money now on insurance claims, they're increasing the liability threshold and it's hurting our clients.
Yes. For
So
sure.
how do we combat that?
It's not hurting the business. It's hurting the.
Exactly. And, our mission is to help people. Of course, we want to make money. Every business wants to make money, but not at the expense of, I'm going to lose sleep at night. And it's just not how I was taught. It's not how my grandfather taught me to do business. And we love doing things with a handshake. We look people in the eye and tell them the truth. And that's got us so much further. So the difference what sets us apart, being able to educate clients on their roof properly and get them as far as we can get them before they have to replace. We can meet their goals rather than trying to fill our own pockets.
Well, I have this question. You already answered part of it. What is working best today? Part of the word of mouth to get good leads. Do you do any marketing? Do you
Yeah.
have any
So
marketing budget? Google, or knocking, insurance work, or partnerships? How a part of the word of mouth? What else do you do?
So I'd like to answer it in two ways. There's a lot in word of mouth that people don't take part in. There's 4 ways to get leads in any business: cold calls, warm calls, running ads, and posting content. And if you're making under $1 million, and this is very Alex Hormozy, if you've never watched him,
Yeah. Yes. Of
he's
course.
fantastic.
Yeah.
But if you're under $1 million, no one knows who you are. You need to do one of these 4 things and you need to do it every day.
Yeah.
And we love the networking side of it, cold calls and warm calls. The warm calls, especially though, we really nurture our network and we have events twice a year. We follow up with them quarterly just to say, hey, how you doing? And these people send us referrals constantly. And word of mouth networking is just such a big part of what I love to do. And we're really, really good at it. It's just taking care of people and keeping in touch with people. That's the big difference. You don't just take care of people and send them on their way. They will forget who you are in a year. I promise you. It's just, oh, that roofing guy that helped me out that one time. Now they get our emails. They hear from us. Hey, everything going okay? It's important to follow up like that. But apart from network, we have moved into Google local service ads and we're going to be running Facebook ads. We haven't implemented Facebook ads yet on the Meta platform, but all the research I've done points to Facebook ads. There's this entrepreneur I saw recently on a podcast. The name doesn't come to mind, but he's a successful business starter. He started over 80 businesses in his career, swears by Facebook ads. LinkedIn ads are great if you're, looking to expand more on a B2B basis, but our GLSA, our Google local service ads, even the ones we don't get, we factor in all of our revenue spent, our expenses out the door versus our revenue income and down to our gross profit margin. We're margining at 40% on our GLSA leads. So we've recently doubled it. We're going to double it again as far as our expenses out the door. GLSA is great as long as when people see your name come up on Google, you got 5 stars, you got history, and you've got to get those reviews.
Yes.
If someone's got 100 reviews and they're 4 stars, 4.3 stars versus someone that's got 1 5-star review, you're going to go for the experience. So we have to focus on getting those reviews to help us with our GLSA leads. And right now, GLSA, again, it works. If you could find something, a lead generation system that is getting you 40% margins, even, factoring in the leads that you lose, I mean, that is just fantastic. So that's really working for us right now. And there, there are companies that hit me up every day. We can get you 7 to 10 leads a week. We'll build you your own platform, and I get those texts and calls 4 times a day. I mean, I got to find out how to get my name off these lists. I know that there's a service that can provide that to me, but it's the lead gen. It's nuanced in how it's constructed. You have to make sure it doesn't hurt your SEO. So, and they're all entrepreneurs too. They're all trying to make it and get people leads. They can do it successfully, but just make sure if you pay yourself one of those companies that they're doing it properly and they're not out there trying to send you any old lead off that that comes in. They're filling these leads for you and doing it properly. But GLSA has really been good for us.
Yes, that's great. Great answer. Where do the leads break down most often? Do they do not call, they do not answer, or you do not get appointment, or they do not sign? But I mean,
So
where is the break when you get leads and doesn't get through your pipeline? Where is
yeah.
this breaks?
So my admin could probably help answer that question more. She's got all the data on this, but we were just reviewing it last week and see with the GLSA ads, if it's a bad lead, you can get credit for it. And we do. So they're really good about that. I will commend even with the AI that they've implemented lately, it's the credit applications are doing really well. So where do the leads break down once they enter our pipeline? I'm not so sure that we do or they do that we do gutter cleaning now as well as roof cleaning, and we do maintenance on roofing and gutters all the way to replacement. So every lead we get through GLSA, they meet our specifications as far as what we've designated, the types of leads to receive. And then word of mouth leads, we sell those. They're coming to us for help
Yes.
and we are able to provide those services honestly. So, and those are all warm leads. Again, none of those are cold. We don't door knock. I don't know another roofing company that doesn't door knock. We don't have time. We are busy. And our word of mouth referrals, it's so important. Again, most people don't focus on building their network the way that we do. They're busy door knocking. And I hear all the time, I get calls, John, this is supposed to be covered on under warranty. The company doesn't exist anymore, or they won't come back and take care of this. And that's, I won't name them. It's unprofessional, but it's the big competitors. You would be shocked who doesn't come back and take care of their clients, or they do work and they never hear from them again. Where do our leads break down? Once we get them on the phone, we take care of our folks. We have a 50 to 55% closing rate, which is a very healthy one. It means our price points are pretty on par, and we do pretty well. So, I think
Yeah.
if you're able to provide the services at which people are asking for when they come to your door, it should be a walk in the park.
That's great. Moving to operations, what is the hardest part right now? It's scheduling, it's job quality, the crew, materials, customer communication. What is it?
What's hard? Last year when we started expansion, like really dove into it, our whole goal last year was not revenue. It was one of our goals. Our main goal was building the foundation of the business, getting all the building blocks done properly. If you build a solid foundation, you can go as high as you want. And we did that for a reason. I've seen local companies, especially the insurance chasers, they go straight up the first year, 2 years, 3 years, and then without the foundation to help service their clients and keep track of them and take care of them, they fall apart. And I don't want my competition to not be in business. I want them to do things differently, but they're great models for how not to do things. We took that as it was and ran with it. So last year we solved all of our problems for the most part. We have issues we want to tackle every week at our executive team meetings. Who doesn't? But the major issues, communication, infrastructure, job sites, materials aren't a problem at all. Our distributors are fantastic. So the logistics of getting things done, we are pretty on top of it. I think the main reason for that is the culture that we have in our business. Every business should focus on their culture. That should be the defining part of what the business owner especially is trying to maintain. You get everyone focused on a vision, and ours is to help people provide the truth about their roof and educate folks on their roofing systems and their gutters. You get everyone behind that vision, motivated in the same direction. It becomes cohesive. Everyone works together towards that goal and everyone's on the same page. Even mistakes become constructive criticism, and we love it. Fail forward. It's not failure. It's part of the cycle. And when we make a mistake, we're like, this is great. Now we can learn from it, and we move forward. And last year, the culture was so important. It was fluid, and that any issue that arises we can handle. We can handle anything that comes to our door right now because of the culture that we have in place. We know how to make decisions, make them quickly, and then see the data that comes of it and move on. So I think outside of culture, the biggest problem that most companies face is the communication skills, especially internally. The salesman sells the job, doesn't take notes properly. The project manager can't keep up, doesn't realize the extent of what the homeowner's desires were and getting the job done. They missed a couple things. Now they got to go back and fix it. And it all falls apart with communication. So over communicate, if anything, take notes properly, keep it all in a system, use a great CRM. I mean, CRMs are so necessary when you're building that company and building the foundation blocks. Get a good CRM, really invest some time. We fielded 7 different CRMs last year, beginning of the year, just to make sure we chose the right one, and we chose a great one. And I don't mind telling you who that is. That's Job Nimbus. Job Nimbus is a fantastic CRM for roofing. They've got some tweaks that they're still trying to work on, but overall it's dynamic. It really helps with automated communication systems. I'm no way affiliated with them. They're just a great CRM. So, yeah, culture and communication. If you focus on those, you should be pretty well set.
And what do you wish your shifting did better? Do you want more speed, less mistakes, better flow, better reporting?
Our system, you mean our CRM or our system as a whole, our
Yeah,
company?
system as a company.
Yeah. So what we're getting into this year, it's not anything to improve on necessarily as what we don't currently do. We decided to dive into artificial intelligence, at least educating ourselves on it because, like every major transition in the past, it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. There's so many people that are resistant to it, especially in the trades. They're like, I've been doing this for 30 years. We're not going to change the way we operate. We don't start learning now, at least how to implement AI into our systems, we will fall behind. So my admin's already begun her education journey on AI. I'm about to start mine in about a month, and we're going to implement it into our systems. We have to. And we have to innovate. You can't stop innovation. So, and that's a big Steve Jobs thing, right? It's like if you must innovate, you must experiment. It must be part of what you do because that's how you grow. Stagnation is the number one business killer, in my
Yes.
opinion. The number one brain killer. I mean, we could really get into that. I love talking about education and learning. We probably will in just a bit, but yeah, that's artificial intelligence is going to be a big, big obstacle for us that I'm looking forward to overcoming.
And this brings me to that question. What has changed? You talk about a little bit about insurance companies, but what else has changed in the past 12 months in the roofing business?
You know, if we had to talk about something else besides insurance, because man, that is really the thing that I would watch out for if you're a homeowner. People pushing an insurance claim, get a word of mouth roofer on your roof to take a look at your roof that's not inclined to make those 90% margins just pushing an insurance claim through. But I think the innovation in technology, not with AI, but with our products, is going to be something on the horizon that is going to appeal more to our upper class clients. They've got solar metal panels now, solar panels, obviously, but solar metal roofing, where
Yeah.
the whole roof looks like a metal roof, but it's solar. European company just made their debut here in the United States with solar metal panels, and they look fantastic. Solar style shingles, now they have slate looking shingles. They're metal shingles that you put down in sheets. Those are really cool. There's a few different brands that offer some great products around those. So I think the changes in products is going to be one of the biggest changes that we start to implement over the course of the next few years. Because again, these aren't going to be, at least not at first, something we sell to our lower middle, upper middle class clients. The shingles are still going to be dominant, and they should be. Shingles are great, man. I love shingles for obvious reasons. That's where I started, and that's our specialty. The new products and innovations that are coming out are going to be really cool. They're field testing some prototypes, honestly, in every application. There's even a brand out west that does rubberized shingles. We don't have them here on the East Coast, but Malarkey Products, their product has really taken off. And that's a shingle design. So you're going to see more and more of that. Longer lasting products, products that require less maintenance, higher end installation techniques, and it's going to change the playing field quite a bit on the high side of things.
Have to be prepared. Be an early adopter in that way.
Exactly.
Don't feel behind. Because what I always see with a lot of the small business is like you say, they don't learn, they don't get updated, so they feel behind. And they start losing clients, they start losing businesses, they start losing money. And the year go by and they don't know why they lose. And they say, hey, but I did everything the same. I service the same. I do my sales the same. No, man, is that's happening is that you don't stay updated. You don't innovate. You don't stay in what is the trend, what is going on. So that keep you behind,
Exactly.
right? You were talking that you almost go bankrupt. What is one of the hard moments you had in the business that forced you? Sorry. What is one of the hard moments you had in the business that forced you to level up? And what changed after that?
There are two different events really. I think almost running the business into the ground. I was 22. I had to learn some hard lessons, and I was spending a lot more money than I thought I had because I didn't know what I was looking at when I was looking at our books. I was selling big ticket items. I thought I was making it, and I wasn't. We were underpriced, and it very quickly hit me all at once. Lived the ramen diet for a bit, and my debt expenses out the door were tremendous every month. All the money I was making was just going paying off my debt. So that really turned me into a businessman because I had to. If not, I was going to lose the business. I had to change. I had to grow up at 22 and get my feet underneath me and stop hanging out with my friends as much. And that was a major change for me, but I didn't have a choice. And I should have, hindsight, learned how to do things before I started doing them. And if I had done so, I wouldn't have been in the position I was in. But I might not have had the excess growth that I did if I hadn't been pushed to those limits either. So in some ways, I consider it a blessing that it happened 10 years ago. Taught me a lot. The other thing was having my son. Very, very like stereotypical, right? To say, I had a child and it changed my life. But my son is 2 years and 3 months now. Yeah. His birthday. He was born on my birthday. It's the greatest gift ever.
Yeah.
And when my wife got pregnant, I remember telling myself that, if I'm going to level up, if I'm going to go from a sole proprietor mindset to the entrepreneur and build a business here, I've got to do it now. And the thing the biggest thing that helped me the most was just your skill sets. If you have nothing and you have nothing to lose, you need to invest in yourself. You need to gain skills. And I didn't have nothing at the time I had my skill sets. When I made this decision, I knew that if I failed and lost everything, I could just restart tomorrow and be fine because I had the skills in order to do it. And I would learn and grow again. The wider your skill sets can be, the more that they'll compound on top of one another, and the better your business will run. So I think, when we decided to make that jump, I did two things. I dove headfirst into education. Again, you can't stop learning. You can't. I mean, Stephen Bartlett talks about this a lot. All the great ones, Steve Jobs, Alex Hormozy, you can't stop learning new things. And that's Tony Robbins said that, the key to happiness is two things. That's growing and giving. To be a best giver, you have to grow. And to do that, and this is a life thing, it's not a Tony Robbins thing. He just preaches it, but it's to grow effectively. You can't be a manager of your time. You have to be a creator of your time. You can't take things as they come in the door and be reactionary every day. You're never going to excel from that. You have to, like, one of the easiest things to do is to time block. Time block your entire week on a Sunday. That's what I do. And it gives you a lot of freedom. If you know what to work on, when to work on it every day, being a creator of your time allows you to make sure certain things get done, including education, working on the business rather than in it, and then hiring the best people. If you don't attain a new skill, hire someone that has it. And I think that was really what helped me earlier. I've mentioned my admin director already, Jim Bordeaux. She's fantastic. She's the other half of my business. That was the other main step that I took when I decided to grow the business. You have to grow with your team. You have to scale, and you can't do that without more people. So that's what we did. And finding the right people is really important. That's a skill set in itself.
Yes.
Knowing who to hire, hiring slow and firing fast, and it will make or break a growing company.
Yes. These three more questions, John. If a roofer has a good work, but is stuck at the same revenue, what is the first thing you would tell them to fix?
Himself.
Great answer.
In any business, what caps businesses are the owners, and it's their inability to recognize what the problem is, their inability to scale properly, and that could be for a number of reasons. But when the revenue's capped and they feel like they can't grow, there is an obstacle that they have not yet learned how to overcome, and they have to keep knocking at that door. They have to innovate and educate themselves as much as they can. If you continue to do things the same way, things are not going to change. If you're going to continue to, do things by the industry standard, what is that? What's the industry standard? That's average to me. You know what average is? That means half the people out there are better than you, and half the people, and you're only better than half the people out there doing it. It's half and half. That's what average is. So if you're stuck, be a little more introspective. Look inside at what you have to change about yourself, and don't settle for mediocrity. It's never been easier in your life. That's another Alex Hormozy thing. It's never been easier in life to be average. It's never been easier to be extraordinary. What separates you from the rest of the roofers? That's as simple as answering the phone. Boom, you're extraordinary. If you can answer the phone and communicate 100% of the time, there are businesses I'm connected to that they have people they pay on salary just to make sure that phone is picked up every time it rings. And that is huge. So if you're stuck, figure out what your obstacle is and overcome it. And don't get set in that mindset of being narrowly focused, narrow visioned. Expand your horizon a little bit.
That's a great answer. John, if you had a magic wand and could fix one thing inside your business that will make you grow easier in the next 90 days, what would you fix first and why?
If I had a magic wand, I would clone my staff, clone myself. I think it just goes back to hiring people, and it doesn't exactly answer your question, but I think it's falling back on the fact that we don't really have big issues that we're stuck on. I have a 5-minute rule. If you can figure it out in 5 minutes, you do it right then. And if it takes longer than 5 minutes to decide, we push it on forward to the next meeting, we move on. But we make decisions quickly, and we're able to do that because of the culture that we have. Again, so personally, we don't have big issues to solve per se with the big magic wand. We're growing at a fantastic rate, and we're gonna keep doing that. So I think the only other thing I would do is just hire more people like us. Hiring is a skill that I have yet to perfect. I am a long way from being able to hire appropriately. I got very lucky with who I hired last year. My project consultant is fantastic. We had one guy that we had to fire, and I learned that I should fire more quickly. You know, it's hiring is very difficult, and I'm going to have difficulties doing that over the course of the next couple years. It's probably my that is going to be an issue that we have to correct, or at least get better at, attain that skill. So that's where my magic wand would be focused, hiring the right people effectively.
You talk about a lot of learning, a lot of self growth. Can you tell us what is your mindset as owner? What is your drive?
My drive, there's a lot of ways you can answer that question, but I love the game of business. I love figuring things out at the rate things are changing now and being able to work as a team the way that we do. It's fun. It's fun. And you have to enjoy it at least a little bit. I don't think it's not a big like roofing's my passion. You're swinging hammer and nails. Like I don't love shingles. I love people and being able to help people to provide a service to folks. And now, being able to be an employer, offer the jobs that we do, being of service to others. And that's why I love networking. That's become a main part of my role as the owner now that we have sales other than me is networking. And the biggest thing that people miss out on networking is it's not just getting out there and trying to shove your business's name down the throats of others as much as possible. Connecting to someone and trying to bring them the most value that you can. And in return, they will give you value back. So you have to give first, and we wouldn't be able to give as much as we do if we hadn't grown to get here. So I think all of that encompasses what I get from my business, from my job, especially as an owner, being able to grow and educate myself every day. It's very stimulating. I really enjoy that. Being able to give and meet people and grow our network, it's become a big part of who I am. It's a big passion of mine. And then, of course, all of that provides for my family. And who am I in life without the people I'm surrounded by? You can't be someone, you can't talk about yourself without comparing yourself to others. The perception you have of yourself is from other people. I'm honest. How do I know? Because other people told me I was.
It's
They said I have integrity and because I don't lie and cheat them. And I cannot just be who I am without the folks that I've surrounded myself with in my life. So, being connected, it's the best part of life to me. And that's what really drives me.
Thank you so much, John, for your this interview.
Thank you.
I
I
really
really
that was
appreciate it.
yeah. Okay. Let me
Thanks for having me on. I really like what you're doing here. I hope it's successful for you, and
thank you.
I look forward to watching a bunch of other podcasts that you put out there. A lot of other leaders in the industries that you're interviewing. Looking forward to those conversations as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you, people watching. See you next time.